Jamuligans, spell like jam, but sounds like ham. Jamuligans, listen along with your friends and fam. It's time to hear from the pastors again.
All right, welcome into Jamuligans. This is the podcast of the pastors of Jamul Community Church in San Diego, California. I'm Ryan Murphy, associate pastor here. Thank you for joining us. We have a very special interview today. We have Tom and Diane from Morale Boosters. So you guys have been friends with Mike Hagan for years, decades? How long?
About 28 years is how long I've known Mike. I think that's what we can figure out.
Yeah. So we want to hear about your ministry, and you guys are traveling to this area.
We've got border visits planned for Thursday and Friday. I say border visits, station visits, and interacting with the chaplains and a lot of the different agents at two of the stations. So that's our purpose for being here. And the trip is going great. We got to spend this weekend with Mike and Crystal and really enjoyed Jamul Community Church. That's my second time being at services, and it's a great church.
Second the motion.
Oh, thank you. Well, we were glad to have you, and yeah, it was a great Sunday. So you're mentioning law enforcement. You're mentioning border patrol. So that is what Morale Boosters is. So tell us about, and just a short summary of what is this ministry? Where did it come from? And
it came from, we served on Camp Pendleton from 2007 till 2015, encouraging Marines and being bold about Christ in the process. No one ever wondered who we served. And that's what we continued in 2015. June 2015, we held an event on Pendleton where several officers from Los Angeles came, because they knew some of the Marines, retired Marines, and I happened to ask them, who's supporting you guys like this? And this is LAPD and LA sheriffs, and they literally said no one. I took that as a signal from the Lord to do something. There is nothing special about me. My wife's very special. I persevere, and I am driven by representing the Lord and overcoming evil with good. And what we've learned through the years is what's being directed at law enforcement is nothing short of evil. And I'm sure a lot of the viewers are familiar with that. So in 2015, we switched our focus to law enforcement. And in 2018, we included border patrol. So as it turns out, we are the only ministry serving the U.S. Border Patrol, focused on the southern border, but also police departments, sheriff departments, and we go where the Lord leads us. We go where morale is pretty low. So we've served the Portland police, an awful place. But also all along the border. So that's why we're happy to be here this week, is visiting Border Patrol agents in the San Diego sector who, because of what's going on, morale is really low. So usually we do these things long distance. We'll send nice things, encouraging items to these stations all along the border. We can't visit them.
Okay.
But we will do things that will, if they don't know about us already, we'll say, how about a snow cone machine? So we'll send them a snow cone machine. It's 120 degrees in the shade there, and we'll send things like that open the door for us and build a trust and comfort level. So that's what we've been blessed to do for over 40 stations along the border and a half a dozen police departments.
What's it going to look like this week? Your meetings, you kind of mentioned already a little bit, but what does that look like when you actually get to go? You say you send some stuff you'll send remotely, but when you actually get these visits, what does it look like? I'm sure each one's different, but what do some of those look like?
Well, if you don't mind, I'll say the biggest thing that we've done, which I'm told you guys have some amazing chefs and cooks in this church. So
Yeah.
just to say this, just in case, we've put on full-on meals barbecue. Mike Hagan actually helped us. We did our first big event for the Border Patrol in 2019 and did carne asada barbecue at 3 days in a row at 3 stations. That was really a cool thing. But for this week, because they don't have a lot of time to spend with us because they're it's in we can go to their muster and we can speak at their muster, which is roll call for them.
Okay.
And we can tell them how much we appreciate them, that what kind of ministry we are, and we can offer them and this is what we're going to do at 2 stations, which is El Cajon and Alpine. That's the 2 stations that we've been directed to this time. And we give them Peacemaker Bibles, which I don't know if you can see that. It's a Bible that is specifically it's a standard NIV, New Testament with Psalms and Proverbs, but a chaplain wrote special inserts that there's 5 of them inside the Bible that deal with common issues for law enforcement, like suicide. Unfortunately, suicide is 34% higher in law enforcement. So dealing with stress, dealing with marital issues, that's the kind of the information that's in here. So we get one of these in their hands if we can. We also give them thank you notes that are written by citizens. And you wouldn't think that a thank you note would mean much, but it does. We make sure they're very heartfelt and sincere. I mean, you can see kind of an example. It's one of our postcards. Other people of our card writers use just regular notes. We sometimes do the snow cone machines, like Tom mentioned. We've sent baked goods, muffins, and things like that. And we've even done these cooling bandanas. These are really popular when it's 127 degrees at the border for them and they're outside a lot.
And we put a note on these that says this is from Jesus. We do something that says it's from him.
Well, every single thing we give them is to direct them to our website. Our website is moraleboosters.us, and we want to get them there because we have messages for them that are gospel messages. Some of them are counseling type messages. And so that's our goal, is not only tell them face to face or in a note that we appreciate them and get a Bible in their hand, but get them to that website so they can hear these compelling messages.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
One thing,
go ahead.
I did want to mention the use of funds. We have reached 10,000 Border Patrol agents and police officers directly and indirectly in the 7 years we've been operating. And we've done that with $35,000. So we're very careful about what we spend, how we spend. We look for great deals. So having a barbecue is a big time thing. We don't do that very often because that costs a lot of money, but we do these little things to reach a lot of officers and agents. Can
you share a story of a transformation that you saw, or just an experience? I mean, I'm just going to leave it up to the Lord to decide, what story you share, but just to see his power that has been at work through your ministry.
Probably the biggest one is there was an agent that was struggling with alcoholism. And because of the relationship that we had built with their union president, which sometimes it's the chaplain, sometimes it's through the union that we get to go visit a station and they set it all up. And this union president has grown to trust us, and we have a very good relationship with him. He's come and spoken at a couple of our events on behalf of the Border Patrol, but also in favor of morale boosters. But he sent an agent to me who is struggling with the alcoholism severe. And this man would not go to a regular counselor that was paid for by the government. He had already been disciplined. His wife had left him. His children were with his wife. He lost his house. He was on the verge of losing everything as a result of alcoholism. He'd actually already gone to 2 rehabs that were paid for by the government. They were giving him one more chance to get his act together. and he was on a just job, nothing with a weapon because of his alcoholism. And I was asked by the union president, under anonymity, will you speak to him and counsel him? And I'm a life coach, by the way, a licensed life coach, and help him. And I did that. And I helped him find a rehab that was suitable, that would fit him better in Texas. And I'm happy to say that here we are 3 years later, and he's sober, back with his wife.
Wow.
And I haven't checked with him to see if he's off probation. He was on a very long probation with Border Patrol, but he still had his job last time I talked to him. And so I just want to say that was God's intervention. And had we not had this ministry, I wouldn't have had that opportunity to work with him. And we wouldn't have been able to see that. And I was witnessing to him the whole time, of course, and talking to him about God. And that was, not something that he was open to at first, but we got there.
Yeah.
One of the things I've learned is they are so easy to please, which is a compliment. It's not like you have to show up and, do a dance routine here. This is, you just give them a card and they're smiling and they're happy, and and then why we've had success, I believe, is because we've been bold about the Lord. Not like we're on a soapbox or anything, but it's very clear who we work for. We haven't held back about that. And because of that, I believe that the Lord has opened doors that wouldn't have been opened. Most of the time, it's the chaplains we're encouraging, because they're between a vice and a rock. Here they are, many of them serving in a capacity. They're solid Christians, and they can't talk about Jesus unless it's a one-on-one basis. And so what we do is, we're very open about it. We're working for him, and that emboldens them to move forward and say, hey, or at least say, hey, these guys are Christians. So they're doing this. So that's been across the board.
And we have quite a few at JCC. This church is, we have law enforcement and Border Patrol people we're very, very proud of. And so that's kind of one of the reasons that we wanted to have you on the podcast, is just how are some ways that we can partner with morale boosters, and what does that look like from your perspective? How do you kind of connect with churches like ours to make a difference?
Most of the time, churches are doing some effective but simple service projects. And as I mentioned, the cards, how much that matters to them, and that we get chaplains asking us for cards. Their morale is low. They know that they have an effect. And by the way, every card has a Christian message, like a witness in it of some sort, is what our goal is. The way that a church can is to do a card writing campaign, either just one Sunday where we either provide the cards or the church provides the cards. What we leave that, we can do it either way. I provide samples, just some suggested note text, some scriptures, suggestions, so that people on the spot can write a thank you card. We've had small groups that have taken it on as a service project. What's really effective is children's cards. So children's ministry or teen ministries, we've had all of those, and they've all been effective. One chaplain told us that he can melt the heart of the toughest agent with a children's thank you card. And he said, I watch it, actually. I watch them go from this grizzled, tough exterior to tears welling up in their eyes as they're reading a children's card. So that's one thing. We also have banners, are customized, we pay for and send to the church that the church members can sign and write a little note. So that's like a big, gigantic thank you note that can go on a wall at a station. People can sponsor some of the gifts if they'd like to by donating on our website. The Bibles cost us about $4 each right now. That's before shipping. And we hand out hundreds of those. We also do these things like the cooling bandanas, the snow cone machines, the muffins, all of those things. Obviously, we rely on donations. We're not big time fundraisers. So it's just through God putting that on somebody's heart.
but we're also looking for tracts. And I don't know where we'd find them that are specifically for law enforcement. So they're more readable, easy to pop open and encourage them. So if anyone has an idea for tracts, that would be great. That point to the Lord. I did want to say one thing. We're about empowering people to serve. You're not working for us. If someone feels led to reach out to local law enforcement or someplace, we will help you do that. It's not like, hey, do this. I'll say, okay, we'll help you do that. Go for it. So once you have that experience with smiling agents and officers, making them happy, going beyond the thank you for your service, have a nice day stuff, that has a huge impact, and people are encouraged doing that.
That's exactly what I loved talking to you on Sunday and hearing about your ministry, is that you're giving, it's like Hebrews 10:23-25, right? It says, let us consider how to spur one another on to good works. And I see you guys as like awesome spurs of like, there's people in our community. I mean, we have them even in our own church, and how do we encourage? So I love all your ideas. And I really look forward to seeing, how we can partner with you guys, but also just how this church and families can look to ways to encourage these hurting people in our communities, because we hear about it all the time in San Diego with the border, with being a big city and the law enforcement issues that have been going on. So thank you so much for taking the time off of your trip and your visit, and just fitting that into your ministry to talk with us. Appreciate you guys a lot. And so that's going to do it.
Brian, thank you very much. You're a good man.
Oh, well, I'm not a good man, but I serve a good God. And thank you. Thanks for those kind words. That's going to do it for Jamuligans this week. Don't forget to check out our other episodes. We have our Weekly Bread podcast, where it's just kind of like a 12 to 15 minute devotional. And then we have our around the world interviews that we do with missionaries from time to time. So all that's available on the church app or YouTube, wherever you're listening to this, probably. So until next time.
You've just listened to Jamuligans, a podcast of Jamul Community Church, the church home you've been looking for. Come back next week for more from the pastors.